Welcome. You are tuning in to episode number 2. And episode number 2 is basically my second time making some content. I was able to get episode number 1 out. So if you viewed that, thank you. Our channel is still missing a lot of subscribers. I think we might have 1 or 2. And I'm happy with that. That is okay. That is called growing from nothing and bootstrapping it, and that is totally fine. But the amazing thing is that I have a video I put out there that almost 1,000 people watched. I think it's like up to like 900 views, which is cool. And it's like, for not having any subscribers, not having any fan base, my friends and family don't even know I'm making this content. I just hope one day they're searching on YouTube and all of a sudden they see my video. Really just not marketing or promoting myself. I don't really want to. I just want to make the content and put it out there. And there's a lot of things going on, and I feel like, my velocity of creating the content has to grow. I have to be able to get this stuff out there quicker and quicker because things are changing in front of our eyes every single day. And it's a weird time in our race, our human race, the evolution of mankind, where we are today. Everybody looks for the future, but we are actually living in it. It's people in the 70s and 80s, they couldn't even fathom the world we're living in today. And that's the fact. The world has sped up so much, has evolved, and technology has shifted, and it's like we've gone through these cycles of, from the Industrial Revolution and where we are today. There's a lot of things going on, and I've never felt the world changing before my eyes as I have witnessed it in the last few years. I mean, things are changing at light speeds, and we're stuck here just kind of getting through the motions of life. And most of us are feeling like this too, like, wow, things are changing and shifting so much, but we can't do anything really about it. That's the tough part, is that your anxiety level raises so much because you can't do anything about how fast the world is moving, because you can only work at your own pace and live at your own pace, and everything is going at light speed. So it's like, am I feeling like I need to catch up? Am I doing something wrong? Am I not planning right? A lot of these questions, a lot of us have together. We just don't say them out loud. And we put up some post on social media once in a while, but most of us are logical human beings, and we don't have big crash outs on social media about our personal emotions, because that never leads to anything good. Even if people think they need to vent, go vent to a friend. Your social media following is not a place to put your personal business. I'm a big believer of that, by the way. And making content is different than airing out your personal business on social media. But I digress. That's a rant. We can go into a whole 2-hour conversation about social media etiquette, which one day, that's a great topic for a video. Great topic. But what we're really focused on today for number 2 is pretty much just, analyzing what is going on in the government, how things are playing out, what we're seeing on the ground level. And, I hope this video reaches a lot more people where they feel that they are comfortable enough to leave a comment about their own experiences. I had a video that people left some commentary on, which made me smile. It was funny, but it was little haters, but it's funny to me. I'm conditioned enough to understand that people are going to say whatever they want. You just can't let it hurt your feelings, and especially on the internet. It's not that deep. I actually enjoy haters because I'll engage, but I'll engage in a respectful way, and I'll get my point across. And that's more fun than trying to match someone's negative energy. There's no time for that. Here is a place of positivity, a place of growth, a place of community. That's the energy that I want. That's the energy I put out to the world, and I surround myself with that energy. I know many of you that are watching, you guys have a similar energy, qualities of those things that I just mentioned that you resonate into the world, and really it's really what community is just getting a bunch of people that have very similar energies resonating into the world around you and in your network, and actually knowing these people and who they are, what they do, and building with people in a way that we haven't built for a very long time, and this goes all ties into the topic of what the F the government is doing right now and what is going on. And it all ties in. It really does. In a way where, most of us are having these feelings with the government, and we don't know what to expect day by day. We're living in this sci-fi thriller type of experience. So what we see on Netflix is almost what we see in real life. It's kind of creepy, but it's almost to the T of watching a movie. And we don't really know what the ending is, but we know that this part of the movie, this might be part one, ends in less than 4 years, and a new movie or the sequel will start. And we're hoping to survive part one, not even looking at the sequel right now, which is a problem in itself because we're so focused on what is happening. And most of us have a big question mark in our minds about everything. We now question it all. What's real, what's not. The government has successfully created an atmosphere. We have a lot of questions. A lot of them going to go unanswered unless we find the answers ourselves. And I say that because we can no longer trust what we see on the news. We can no longer trust what we hear on the radio. All the channels that we once relied on for key sources of information, we've come to realize that they are just bought and paid for by someone or a group of people. And that's capitalism, and that's the media. That is why for 20 years people have complained that the media might be basically your fourth branch of the government. It's controlled by the government. It's paid for by the government. It depends on which party it is. It could be Republican. It could be Democratic. It could be somewhere in the middle. But media is bought and paid for. And we think that we're getting the news, and we're really getting a portion of it and a more staged version of the news. And as humans, we kind of followed the news blindly until really social media started to mature, YouTube started to mature, and we're not even close to maturity now. We're like a teenager in internet terms, where how long these legacy applications have been around from their infancy to where they are now, right? And we're just in the teenage years of the social media version of Web 2.0. And if other people don't know what Web 2.0 is, I'll make another video about that. It's very simple to understand. But that's been kind of the key driver of unveiling the curtain, where people's opinions got marketed on the internet. And that's the key driver of YouTube, right? And that's what we have come to now to get our information from. We go to YouTube, we go to Facebook, we go to TikTok. Now, granted, all the information is not credible. You don't know what's credible and what's not. That's more of a thing that you decide. And you just have a broadcast of opinions. But a lot of news that gets pushed through social media and YouTube by individuals who dedicate their lives to becoming journalistic and having that knack to find information, unravel stories, go deeper into research. The internet is crazy, where people really collaborate for research. The Twitter army is real, and that's the day and age we live in now. That is the new way of getting information that's different from just all the information that legacy media tells us. And now we sit back and look at legacy media and just sit back on our couch and say, nope, you are lying. You are bold-faced lying. And here's how we can tell. And that's what's going on now. And you have, Donald Trump, who has his own social network, Truth Social. And he understood this really well. And that's why they put that network together to create community. Don't know what's in that network. I'm not a user of it, but people go there for their source of information. And there's a lot of different things going on in that community. But a community is a community, and they have created a herd of people that have similar feelings, similar ideas. There may not be all on the same wavelength, they're all on different pages, but it's a social media, right? So it's not like 100-member community. There's a few million people on here. But the channels that we get our information from has definitely changed. Our trust has changed. And more people like myself, the average Joe Schmo, are able to really say, hey, people deserve to get better information. But it's not just information, right? People deserve to have someone spark critical thinking and reasoning back into the conversation. A lot of people are sending out information, but they're not thinking of it critically and dissecting it and saying, okay, here's A, B, and C of this information, which is very important in this time, this day and age, right? Where that is how you're going to insulate yourself, insulate your family, insulate your friends, your network, for the new transformation of our society that we are all witnessing in fast but slow time. Fast, little incremental changes happening in front of our eyes, happening within government, happening within political parties. And by the way, if I mention anything politics, I am no longer affiliated with a political party. I no longer affiliate myself with the Democratic Party. I no longer affiliate myself with the Republican Party. And until something is provided for people that think similar to me, that we're falling somewhere in the middle, that someone else can lead the charge and help us get our voices heard, the real voices, the men and women that are on the ground working, putting food on the table, taking care of their kids, going to church, going to the temple, going to the mosque, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of people that are doing all the right things, paying taxes, showing up to work every day, being a good neighbor. Those people, that America wants to polarize. They're the ones whose voices need to be heard. Instead, we're hearing voices of a very small niche portion of the population that has some wild ideas and radical ideas that we didn't ask for, we don't agree with, and we don't even want to have that as part of the conversation. These forced conversations and agendas that we've all accustomed to witness and see before our eyes, the Democratic agenda, the Republican agenda, and they're just two sides of the same monster just going at each other to balance out one thing: to divide people. Because divided people are easier controlled than people that work together. People that work together, human nature creates trust and relationships and bonding between the people. And what happens is they create a strong, unified front. They don't want that. Why? Because the people have the most power, but we need to feel like we don't have enough power. We need to feel powerless and riddled with anxiety and intoxicated and always just under the influence of something. If it's not alcohol or drugs, it's content and media, it's music. It's like we have to be consumed. Why? Because if we aren't, and we start unifying and working together, hand in hand, bartering, creating relationships and networks, and making a whole infrastructure in America, putting your construction hats on. And that's metaphorical right there. It doesn't have to all be building in a sense of people from all different facets coming together. That's what I'm talking about. That's the true power. Not Republicans. Not Democrats. No. Those people are powerless. They seek power from us, from people, the majority, the collective. They take that power and they just put it into their system and they suck it up. Democrats have done it. The Republicans have done it. One party is more successful than the other party. At the end of the day, these people are not our friends. And they have convinced the masses that they are. And they are to be celebrated like celebrities have been celebrated in America. You have political celebrities in charge of the government, in charge of people. What do you think is happening? And don't think that Barack Obama is not a political celebrity and the only person you think of is Donald Trump, because that's not true at all. He's a celebrity turned politician. Barack Obama became a celebrity from being a politician. Same thing. Just a different side, different angle, different outcome, cause and consequence, and intersects, if you know what I mean. So one thing that you'll understand about me, it's no black and white, it's no gray area, it's all black and white. Don't really care. I'm colorblind. I'm a color. We're all a color. This hat's a color. Who cares? I really don't. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing the government doesn't want us to do. They don't want Joe Schmo from this country to be friends with Joe Schmo who's from this country. Really don't. But we are smarter than that, because the average American is friends with a variety of people. Everyone has a token Asian, token white person, token black person, token Indian, you name it. We've melted and come together in this country over the last 30 years like never before seen. And they're not going to take that away from us. We're not going to let that happen. But what we can start doing and start building. Building in the right way. Building behind the scenes. Building our own infrastructure, our own pipelines, our own ways of commerce, our ways of imports and exports. There's all these channels out there. We just don't, by the masses, use them because we rely on government to do all the heavy lifting for us. Which brings me to the next point, is that you see what the government's doing, restructuring funds, taking away food from people because that's how you get people's attention. They do it all the time. It's a classic trick, so to make all the headlines. And that's what the SNAP stuff was about, just to take food off the table. Like, oh yeah, here's what we're gonna do. That was a scary precursor of what can happen and will happen down the road. People think the government is going to shut down in 2026. They're just going to let you have your Christmas and enjoy paying higher prices for everything. And then the turmoil will start mid-January, first 2 weeks of 2026. It always does. So you have to understand that these people are not our friends. They exist to facilitate our economy and living, but they should not be all entangled in our affairs, which they are. They're trying to remove all of our rights, and half these people want us in a soup line, getting our food in a single file line. The other half know the soup line is coming, but want to do as much as possible to avoid it. It's a very small group of people, actually, that don't want most of us to be in a soup line. I'll tell you one thing. None of us like waiting at the line to get into a bar. You think Americans are going to want to wait in a line for food? This is why we have to change and get us together to start building, to get more Americans put these construction hats on. Times are changing. Times are changing, and we're forced to change. But if we don't do it with a vast community and more people geared up and prepared for what is about to happen, then we're going to be those people. Wake up, listen to the news, get the news and react, and by that time, the supermarket's already flooded. All the food is already off the shelves. We already know that feeling with the pandemic. When you sleep on information in small channels, when you let the government give you all your information. We saw what happened. I'm just saying, I'm no economist by profession, by any means. I'm just a person that can think logically. And the one thing that I'm going to double down on in the now and in the future is the opposite of what everybody else is doing with these robots and artificial intelligence. I'm going to double down on mankind. DDM. Stay tuned.